All right, everyone, let's go ahead and do a walkthrough of the SPSS principal components and factor analysis assignment. So this was the crash proneness internalization scale, which was a 15-item scale that me and another researcher developed for a study. Research has shown that folks who have more of an internal locus of control tend to have lower crash rates. So for these kids with driver education, that was what the study was about. We had them complete this questionnaire to see if they tend to have more of an internal or external locus of driving related external locus of control. Notice that there was two subscales. The items that are not bolded, a higher score is supposed to be more of an internal locus of control. Those that are bolded, 3, 6, 8, 9, etc., 11, 15, higher value is supposed to be more of an external locus of control. So there's supposed to be two subscales of this thing. However, let's just say that you're going into it and you just want to explore and see how many themes or underlying factors or subscales, whatever you want to think, it actually does appear to have. So we're going to do just an exploratory principal components analysis. So to do it, we go to Analyze, we go to Dimension Reduction, and we go to Factor. And we put item 1 through item 15 in the variables box. Click the extraction button. Keep the default method of principal components. Also under extract based on eigenvalues greater than 1, that is the Kaiser criterion. That's the default. We're going to keep that as well. Under display, I tell you to unclick unrotated factor solution just so you got less crap on your output, but do click scree plots. Continue. Under rotation, in the rotation method box, you're supposed to select Verimax and as your method of rotation and click continue and then click OK to run the analysis. So it is running the analysis right now. And again, this is an exploratory one. So in the total variance explained table, this table right here, under initial eigenvalues, all right, this one right here, in the total column, which is here, how many CPI principal components are suggested by the Kaiser's criteria? That is, how many factors or themes have an eigenvalue that's greater than 1? You got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Looks like there's 4 themes that SPSS has picked up on. That is patterns of responding to these 15 items. That's weird. There's only supposed to be 2. So anyway, so those the simple answer to the question is how many CPI components are suggested by Kaiser's criterion? 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. So the answer here, hopefully what you put is 4. Under the rotation sum of squares loadings, that is over here, and the cumulative percent column, that is here. What percentage of variance in CPI scores does this number of principal components cumulatively account for? So 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. This is cumulative. So across all 4, it's adding them, it's 42.8%. So hopefully you put 42.8%. So that is 42.8% of all variability in the 15 items is accounted for by a force factor solution. So how about the scree plot? How many CPI principal components are suggested by the scree plot? So remember, the scree plot, the way it works is you look for how many are on the cliff versus how many are rubble at the bottom of the cliff. This suggests 2, right? 2 big factors, and then the rest is just sort of detritus at the bottom of the cliff. So this suggests a 2-factor solution that might be appropriate, which is pleasing for those of us who made this. It's supposed to have driving internality and externality. So now we're going to find the rotated component matrix output table and change the factor loadings in table to 2 decimals. So first of all, let's find our rotated component matrix. There it is. And you need to change the factor loadings in the table, that is these numbers, to 2 decimals because we're going to paste it into the table below. So first double click on the table, highlight all the numbers in components 1 through 4. So like that, right click, go to cell properties. Under the format value, boom, change the decimals to 2. So down to 2, hit apply. And okay, and it's rounded them to just 2. All right, so double click the table again and highlight all the table. Double click the table again and highlight all the numbers. So, well, I don't know, it didn't really close it, but there we go. Highlight all the numbers. There we go. Under paste options, right click under hit copy. Highlight all the cells below. So right here. Oops. And right click here. And under paste options, do the one that's text only, which is this one right here. And it's now pasted them in there to make our lives easy. So closing that, boom. So when we printed these, we used to do this, with highlighters, like literally. But what I want you guys to do is actually highlight the numbers that you just pasted in this table. So these numbers represent the correlation of each item with each theme. So there's 4 total themes that it picked out. And so item 1, for example, these are how much it's correlated with each of the 4 themes that SPSS suggests there might be. The strongest correlation is 0.53, right? So that is the strongest factor loading for item 1 was on theme 3. Item 2 was also theme 3. Item 3 correlates with theme 1. So here's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to highlight the numbers, loadings in the above table green if they are an absolute value of 0.4 or higher. That is a high factor loading. So let's go ahead and do that. So anything that's absolute value of 0.4 or higher, let's highlight in green. So we got that one, and that one. Oh man, this one's got 2 of them, right? Because it's absolute value. So 2 of them. This one's also got 2. That's kind of crappy. This one's only loads strongly on 1. This one doesn't load strongly on any. All right. This one loads strongly on factor 1. This one loads strongly on the 4th one. Second one. 4th one. Second one. Second one again. Second one yet again. And this last one loads strongly on only the last one. So we got one here that doesn't appear to load on any. We got another one here that loads on 2. Technique. So now we're supposed to highlight in yellow if they have a moderate factor loading. So if the item has a correlation of 0.3 absolute value of 0.3 to absolute value of 0.39, we're going to highlight it in yellow. So look for any of these that are 0.3 absolute value of 0.3 to 0.39. And here's one right here. We're going to highlight that in yellow. So that's a moderate correlation. There's another one there. There's one there. And again, another one because it's absolute value. Is that it? Let's do a quick check. No, none of these are 0.3 or higher. 0.3 to, sorry, 0.39. All right, that looks like it. So leave numbers unhighlighted if they are less than 0.29, that is weak. So what's going on here? So how many CPI items or rows have a high load in on only one principal component column? That is, they're green for only one of the columns. So that item loads strongly on only one of the 4 principal components or themes. So we got 1, 2, 3, no, no, 4, no, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I got 12 of them with a high loading, so 12 of the 13. So let's check that real quick because I'm making the key. So which ones? So that means 3 didn't load highly on just 1. So that's 1 of them, 2 of them. Where is the 3rd one? 1, 2. Well, this one didn't load highly on either. That's the problem. Okay, so there's your 3. that don't load highly on just one. This one loaded highly on two. Number 4 and 5 both loaded highly on 2 of the different themes. And then you got number 7 here, which didn't load highly on any of the themes. So how many CPI items have a high loading on more than one principal component or column? Well, that's number 4 and number 5. So there's 2 of those. All right, so at the end here, this thing should add up to 15. How many CPI items / rows do not have a high load on any principal component? That's this one right here, item 7, kind of blows, doesn't really load highly on anything. So if you did this right, hopefully the total here adds up to the total number of items, which is 15, and mine does, so that's seeming pretty good. So how many CPI items / rows meet the criteria for A and have weak loadings on all other principal components? No other high or moderates. So we're looking for ones that are green and just green on just one column, okay? So we got 1, 2, 3, no, no, 4, no, no, 5, 6, no, 7, 8, 9. I got 9 of the items, 9 out of 15, not too great, that load strongly. They meet the criteria for A. They have a high loading on only one, so there was only 12 choices there. So we subtract the ones from the 12 that also loaded on a yellow one. So gosh, what is that? That's 1, 2, 3 of them. So that's how we ended up at 9. So that is, there's 9 of the items have a simple structure. They meet the criteria for A. They load high on only one of the principal components, one of the 4 themes, and they're not high or moderate on any of the others. So does this principal component solution have a simple structure, meaning that each principal component column has at least 3 items, rows that meet the criteria? For D, so are there at least, does each principal component have at least 3 items that load strongly only on it? So let's see. 1, this one has that one. 2, no, not looking good. So we're already at no. How do we get it? That one loads only strongly on theme 1. That one doesn't, because it loads strongly on 2 themes. That one loads strongly on only theme 1, but then there's no other ones because that one's moderately. I guess, actually, I guess, you know, this one is, so the criteria A says that that meet the criteria for D. So it's got to be loading highly on only one principal component and no high or moderate on any other. So it's just green, basically looking for where it's green, 3 greens in each column that are only green for that one principal component. So that's only 1, 2, no, no, because there's a yellow, no, no. So we've already, the answer is no. But just for poos and giggles, how about principal component 2? No, because it loads high on 2. 1, no, because it's moderate there. 2, 3, that one's got 3. This one has 1, 2. Oh God, this sucks. 1, this one has 1, 2. So no, this item does not have 3 items that load strongly on that particular theme and only that theme, no moderate or anything else. So does this principal component solution have a simple structure, meaning that each principal component has at least 3 items, rows that meet each criteria for D? No. But wasn't only one of them actually had 3 items? That's pretty bad. So that does not appear like a very good solution at all. So then I say, hey, why don't you actually run a confirmatory one? So the CPI was supposed to have 2 subscales driving internality and externality. That's internal and external locus of control. How well does a 2-factor solution and its 2 subscales actually fit their responses? And it's about 1,000 kids who took this. So we're going to go back to analyze and dimension reduction and factor. And we're going to force SPSS into a 2-factor solution. So we're going to leave 1 through 15 in the variables box. We're going to click the extraction button. Under extract, we're going to change to fixed number of factors. And in this fixed number of factors, how many factors do we want it to try to confirm? 2. And hit continue. and click OK, and it's going to try to fit a two-factor solution now. All right, under the rotation sum of squares, let's get it all in. There we go. Under the rotation sum of squares loadings, that's rotation sum of squares loadings, based on the cumulative percent column, that's this one right here. What percentage of variance in CPI scores do the two factors cumulatively account for? 28 point, let's round that to 28.7% of variability, 28.7. So definitely not 50. Remember, that was the goal from lecture. So 6 factors wasn't even 50, 2 factors was going to be less, and it's only 28.7. So it's not looking great. Remember, we want the themes to account for at least 50% of the variability across all the items. So, and then 50% for each item. So let's go ahead and find our rotated component matrix. That is this one right here. We got to change the factor loadings in the table to 2 decimal places. To do that, we double click it. We highlight these, all the numbers. We right click. We go to cell properties. We change decimals to 2, click apply, okay. And then we copy it. And then over here, we're going to go ahead and paste it. So paste this one, that keeps only the text. All right, looking good, paste them in there. So again, this is only 2 themes now, okay? 2-factor solution, whereas this was a 4-factor solution. So again, we're going to go through the process of seeing how many highlight the numbers or loadings in the table above in green if they are greater than or equal to 0.4. And again, this is the correlation of each item with each of the themes. You can see this first one's high on both themes, right? So let's go ahead and highlight them if they're absolute value of 0.4 or higher. And there we go. Note it's negative on one theme and positive on the other. Interesting. This one is 0.4 or higher on theme 1. This one is 0.4 absolute value or higher on theme 1, theme 2, theme 1, theme 1, 1. Neither. Theme 2, theme 1, 2, 2. 2, and 1. Highlight them as yellow if they're 0.3 to 0.39 absolute value. So there's one that's yellow. No, oh, there's another one that's yellow. There's another one that's yellow, like barely, but it is moderate loading. And that's it, right? I think that's it. 0.3 or higher. Looking good for the most part. So now let's answer some questions. How many CPI items have a high loading that's green on only one factor or column? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I got 12. Let me double check it and see. So again, no, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. How many CPI items have a high loading on more than one factor or column? Well, there's this one, that's 1. Looking for green across 2. Looks like there's only 1. That's what I'm getting so far. This is the only one that's green across both columns, right? 1. So, all right. How many CPI items do not have a high loading on any factor column? All right. Well, what do we got here? We got this one. It's moderate on just theme 1, so that's 1. And this one, number 9, moderate on just theme 1, so that's 2. So again, these 3 rows should add up to the total number of items if you did it correctly. So 13, 14, 15, so it does. So how many CPI items rows meet the criteria for A and have weak loadings on all other factors. That is, no other highs or moderates. So in normal person terms, how many of these are green on for just one of the two values? Okay. No, no, 1, no, 2, 3, 4, 5, no, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I got 11 of them. So to double check it, we know that there were 12 right here that had a high factor loading on only one factor column. So that means we got rid of at least one because it had a yellow one, right? Moderate. And that would be this one right here. This one was high on here, but yellow there. So again, no, no, 1, no, 2, 3, 4, 5, no, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 total items meet the criteria for A and have weak loadings on all other factors. That is, no other greens or yellows. So does this factor solution have a simple factor structure, meaning that each factor has at least 3 items or rows that meet all the criteria for D? So I don't know. So no, no, 1, just green on the 1, no, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that one's good. It's got 6 items that are green for theme 1 and only theme 1, no moderate or high for theme 2. How about this one? No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, both columns have at least 3 items that are load highly for just that column and not moderately or high on the other column. So we do have a sort of simple structure here. Each column has at least 3 items or rows. So I'm going to say yes. It's not an ideal factor structure or simple structure because some items load strongly on more than one. Some items are moderate on moderate on just one of the themes, and then you got a case like this where it's strong on one and moderate on the other. But we do have at least 11 items that are pretty darn good. 11 out of 15, not too bad. So starting with the CPI item that loads the strongest on each factor, then continuing with the next strongest loading item, and so forth. Down the line of items that load on each factor, try to interpret the underlying meaning of each and come up with a name for each factor. All right, so let's do this. Factor 1, the strongest loading is 0.59. So is going to be 7. So what is item 7? Drivers were attentive and careful. There would be many fewer accidents. Okay, sounds good. So that, oh gosh, I could have just read it here, huh? Oh no, did I do 7? No. It's actually, good Lord, sorry, it's 8. Avoiding accidents and traffic tickets is largely a matter of luck. This one seems to have to do with luck. Next strongest item is 0.56, right? You'll be safe while driving if you follow all laws. Okay, so you got luck. And then you got, oh no, I'm sorry, it's your state of mind while driving will not affect. Aha, so that means, again, you don't have control over it. So right here, it was just luck. Here, your state of mind while driving will not affect your likelihood means, again, you're sort of up to chance. So what's the next strongest correlations? Negative, right? Absolute value. I think so, negative 0.52. So it's higher values for this are negatively associated with whatever this theme is. So if all drivers were attentive, there would be fewer accidents. So disagreeing with that is associated with this theme, meaning your attentiveness doesn't affect accidents. So we got, you're kind of subject to luck. There's not much you can do about it. Being attentive is going to help. Let's go at least one more deep. Accidents are usually due to bad luck or circumstances rather than failure to be attentive. So far, the theme of this, and let's just do most traffic laws are unnecessary. Only make driving more difficult. If your parents got into a lot of accidents, so will you. So this kind of seems like it's measuring, it's saying that gaining in accidents, tickets and whatnot isn't up to you. It's up to chance, the environment, whatever. And what do we tend to call that? We tend to call that a like an external locus of control. So that's what I'm going to call it. Meaning The factors that affect outcomes in your life are due to this chance and luck and those sorts of things. There's not much you can do about it. I mean, you can disagree, by the way. That's okay by me. So you might have put something else there. Luck is fine, for example. So how about the second factor, this theme? So what loads strongest on here? It's like it's 0.56. Enough driving experience will make anyone a safe driver. So there's something you can do about getting crashes and get more experience. Oh no, here's 0.59 was bigger, sorry. You'll be safe if you follow all traffic laws. So there is something you can do about it. Again, more experience makes you safer. Following laws makes you safer. These are all things you can do. It looks like it's the 2.53s. Road rage is caused by other drivers being inconsiderate or careless. Seems like it's under their control. Accidents that result in mistakes made by drivers. 0.41, is that the last one? Accidents occur because drivers don't drive as safely as they could. So, you know, what do these have in common? It kind of seems like they're that, you know, there's things you can do to avoid accidents. So and tickets. So if there's in road rage. So if there's things you can do to avoid accidents and tickets, that suggests that they're under your control. That would be what we call internal locus of control. At least kind of, could be worse. So I'm going to call that one internal locus of control. And again, you can differ. So do the factors, and so these are the names I came up with. And again, you may differ, and that's okay. Do the factors seem to actually reflect the two subscales that Mastin and Chapman expected the CPI, that is driving internality and driving externality? I thought so, except for the 4 items that didn't really do a good job of loading anywhere. I thought it was yes. But again, not going to hurt my feelings if you disagree. Change the orientation. Note there is no APA write-up. So there is some bonus questions. Let me do the bonus questions for those who are masochists and love it. What is the Chromebox reliability to 2 decimals for the CPI? How do you get internal consistency reliability? Do you remember how to do that? It was under analyze, and then it was down to scale, reliability analysis. We're going to put all 15 items in this box here. We're going to say total scale, or give it some sort of label. And you can get the item totals if you want. That's scale of items deleted. It's up to you. Don't have to. I will click OK. And that's all you got to do to get the internal consistency reliability. So what is it, 2 decimals? It's 0.38. So 0.38 is the internal consistency reliability based on these 1,000 responses for the CPI, which is the crash proneness internalization. So we got a Chromebox alpha 0.38. That means it's the average of, correlation of all possible split halves. Remember, the higher this is, the more reliable, more internally consistent the scale was. So does the CPI have good internal consistency reliability? Now, do you remember the criterion for that? What is the minimum you want in order for a scale to be deemed as decently reliable? Well, it's 0.7. So no, 0.38 is less than 0.70, which is the minimum. So our scale was not that great, I guess would be the simple way to do this. So, oops, and highlight. So yeah, so hopefully this was kind of fun for you. There is no APA write-up. Get a chance to do it. We made a scale. It's this hard if you make one for your own dissertation. So just be aware if you're going to try to do it. Like we thought we knew what we were doing, and you can see we came up with a scale where 4 of the 11 items don't even load that strongly, although it does seem like we got the 2 themes going on. So hopefully if you have any additional questions, you hit me up in the discussion. But other than that, that's it. Make sure you grade it.